What the heck is the 1% rule? Real estate is a big way to get money. It can help us make a living, but there's this thing that we call the 1% rule. If you're curious what it's about, then just continue watching. But before that, subscribe to the channel. This is Finance Boss, an awesome channel for awesome people like you. Every single day, more and more people are beginning to gain interest in real estate investing because of the several benefits that it has to offer. It can be an excellent addition to an investment portfolio. Buying a real estate property in the right location can give you a steady flow of cash for a long time, and you can even use it as a tool. This is a form of passive income, and you can generate more income by investing in multiple rental properties at launch in terms of appreciation, buying in the right location, and having the property desirable. One are some of the core tenets of successful real estate investing. But the benefits of continuing real estate investing also comes with some tax benefits as well. The income you earn from your rental property is not as an income tax. In addition to this, real estate owners can benefit from tax breaks from depreciating the value of their property. Some extra costs associated with management can also be deducted from the purpose of tax, like the cost of electricity, internet. If you invest in real estate in a good location, the payment you receive each month from your tenants should be enough to cover your mortgage, leaving you with some profit to enjoy as well. Moreover, real estate can offer you protection against inflation, since you can slowly increase your rents to keep up with the increased cost of living in your local marketplace. However, you want to enjoy these benefits. If you aren't able to invest in the right property, investing in real estate is not as simple as many people. Finding the right investment property can be challenging, especially for beginners. You may have numerous options to choose from. Making the decision now is much more difficult. It may take you several weeks. If you decide to go through this process, you may end up being more confused in the end. To make this process simple, there are screening tools used by expert real estate investors to make the process of finding a new property easier and faster. This is where the 1% rule in real estate comes in as a tool to help you narrow that. You search for a property. If you want to make a profit from a rental property, then it must have a positive cash flow. Net cash flow is the difference between your monthly cost on the property and the money you receive as rent. A positive cash flow means that the total amount coming from your property after tax has been deducted is greater than the operating cost of positive cash flows. One of the reasons why real estate investments is attractive and important to succeed. When you buy a property, you have to cover some expenses such as the mortgage and its associated interest, property management fees, and some repairs and maintenance. If you have to use all the money that you make from your property to cover these expenses, you will have zero as your net cash flow. This means that you're not collecting any money excessively, which puts you in the position of having to cover any unforeseen expenses with your own personal funds. If you end up in a negative cash flow position for too long, you may even begin to contemplate whether you want to keep their property going forward but back to positive cash flow. If you want to use the loan to purchase your property, your lender will have to assess the property to determine whether you qualify and how much they can lend to you. If your lender is concerned about how you're going to pay back the loan, then buying a property with a good outlook for positive cash flow is something you should keep in the forefront of your mind. Investing in real estate has its risks, but luckily, you can minimize them by investing in properties that have the potential to provide you with a positive cash flow. If you buy a property that is more lucky to put you in a negative cash flow position, then you may find it difficult to pay the mortgage. If you default your payment, you can lose a property and your down payment. But if you invest in the property with more profit potential, then you won't have to worry about your mortgage because the property will pay for itself. The rent from the property would cover your monthly mortgage. Positive cash flow is also important if you want to build your real estate investment portfolio. The extra money that you make from properties will not only help you pay for the property, but also contributes to your estate. To purchase another property, the more property you have with positive cash flow, the more money you will make and then can reinvest. Now, let's dive into the details of the 1% rule. The 1% rule is a rule of thumb that helps real estate investors narrow down their search for properties. The theory of the rule is that for any property to generate a positive cash flow, your rental income every month must be equal to or greater than 1% of the total. The purpose of this rule is to guide investors to know how much to charge his rent in order to have profits left over. After expenses are paid every month, the total investment for calculation purposes is the amount you paid for the house, including the cost of repairs and renovation. When looking for a property to buy, you may be presented with numerous options, and it can become a daunting task to select the best one. The 1% rule should be used as a pre-screening, two of the selective properties that may be worth it. Well, this is an important rule to follow. There are other considerations like the state of your local house, the market to qualify of the neighborhood you are looking to buy into, and the current state of rent in this same area to calculate. If the property you want to buy meets the 1% rule, you have to divide the investment value by the total investment and multiply it by 100. The calculations are rather straightforward, but let's go through a quick example. Let's assume that the cost of a property is $100,000 and you were hoping to rent it out for $1,000 per month. The 1% rule calculation is $1,000 divided by the cost of the property, which is $100,000 multiplied by 100. In this example, the answer result will be 1%. You could also have a case where the value of the property is $200,000 and the cost of renting it out is $1,200. The calculation in this case will be $1,200 divided by the cost of the property, which is $200,000, multiplied by 100. The answer in this case is 0.6%. In the first example, the property meets the criteria for the 1% rule. However, in the second example, the property did not meet the 1% rule using the 1% rule. The first property will be given further consideration, while the second property will be removed from the list of potential. If you know what the monthly rent of a property is worth, you can use the 1% rule to calculate the maximum amount you should spend to purchase it. If you don't know what to charge, you can also use the 1% rule to set a rate that can give you a positive cash flow to cook with the maximum amount you should pay for a house using the 1% rule, multiplying the value of the rent by 100. Other than the mortgage, it's assumed that about 50% of your monthly rent will be used for these other expenses. That means you may spend up to $600 every month for maintenance, taxes, and property. The new calculation is 600 minus 675, which leaves you $75 in the red every month. This means that you may have to spend an extra $75 every month to maintain your property. This is about $900 every year. Now, there are also times where a property will meet the 1% rule, but it still should be passed over as an investment option. For instance, the property may be in a crime-ridden part of town, or the property may be older and you may anticipate a lot of money needing to be invested into it in a few years' time. Alternatively, you may decide you're a certain profit rate per month that the 1% rule simply cannot meet. Therefore, you may actually scale up this desired percentage to say 1.5% to ensure your rent collections are sufficient to offer you money to cover expenses and pad your bank account. However, there's no doubt that the 1% rule offers a great means of assessing a rental property's financial viability. And by using this tool, you can expedite your host hunting process and capitalize on the great investment opportunities that exist out there. Yay! It's a little confusing at first, but I know that you'll get there. If you forget something, just go back to this video and learn it again. Well, that's it, awesome people. This is Finance Boss. Subscribe and see you on the next video.